Hello, world history students. This is Mrs. Politsky, and I have your notes for Chapter 28, Section 2, The Rise of Dictatorial Regimes. In Europe, there were four really bad guys. Uh, one of them was an ally, but the other three were obviously our enemies. You have Adolf Hitler, who's probably one of the better known, and Mussolini. You have Francisco Franco, who was maybe a lesser known fascist dictator. And then you've got Joseph Stalin, who was supposedly an ally of the United States, but yet a real brute. So we're going to start with Benito Mussolini. He was a dictator, totalitarian dictator, fascist, who came to power in Italy in the 1920s. By the time he gains power, he's got the same desires as any fascist dictator. He wants to expand his country. And one of the places that he seeks land is in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is one of those regions of Africa that was never colonized by Europeans. And I think he thought that he could go down there and just take it. Unfortunately for Mussolini, it didn't work out as easy as he thought. And the Ethiopians proved that they were willing to stand their ground and were able to fight off the Italians. In the Soviet Union, you had Joseph Stalin, who used violence, fear, and propaganda to kind of get his way. He had certain goals, and a lot of communist leaders usually propose like these flat 5-year plans. And his first 5-year plan was to modernize the Soviet economy and to increase industrial output. In doing so, he kind of made some mistakes, and one of them happened to be in Ukraine in 1932. Ukrainian peasants faced starvation because they resisted this idea of collectivization, this idea of coming together, working together as a team, being told by the government how to run their farming operation. Well, the government really doesn't know a lot about farming. And when these farmers refused to work together, Stalin refused to send them food. And what ends up happening is a great famine sets in. Many people died as a result of this. If they didn't die of starvation, they died of a few other things, as we're going to mention here. When we talk about the ownership of farms under Vladimir Lenin, who was the first leader of the Soviet Union, he gave land to the peasants. Whereas when Joseph Stalin takes charge, he takes the land back and he puts it all under government control. And when the peasants resisted Stalin's move, he basically had them executed, or he sent them off to gulags, which were kind of like concentration camps in Siberia with really lousy weather. During the mid-30s, Stalin started what would be known as the Great Fear or the Great Purge. It was his way of getting rid of those people who were undesirable or the things that were undesirable. And he ends up killing thousands upon thousands of people, kind of in the same league as maybe when we talk about Adolf Hitler and the Holocaust and all the people who died in that genocide. Stalin did the same thing, and he doesn't really get as much attention as a result of that. In Spain, we had a civil war, which Italy and Germany supported at least part of it. They supported one side known as the Nationalists, whose leader was General Francisco Franco. They were fascist. And they were up against a group known as the Republicans, who were supported by the Soviet Union because they had leanings towards the communists. These groups fought each other for a number of years. Eventually, the nationalists get the upper hand, but they had support from Italy and Germany. Matter of fact, Germany used its Luftwaffe for the first time, and the painting that you see depicted down below is called Guernica. It was painted by Pablo Picasso, who was kind of known as a modern artist, but this is one of the first times that we're going to see civilians targeted, and it's going to set the tone for what's going to happen for the rest of the Second World War. All right, thank you very much.